Hey, Donald, it's getting even worse. If you thought it was a wipeout when the blue wave hit on Tuesday, oh, the momentum keeps growing against Donald Trump. We saw spontaneous protests taking place in Washington, D.C. People are just pissed right now at this Trump regime. And it's not just even from the people. We're seeing the courts finally assert their authority as well. Democratic governors asserting their formal and moral authority, Democratic leaders in the House and the Senate now stepping up. I'm like, yes, this is what we've been freaking waiting for. I do not want this episode to turn into an episode of Legal AF, but there were so many legal updates to talk about, so I'll try to do them very, very quickly as well. But the sandwich guy, Sean Dunn, allegedly, I didn't see anything. What sandwich? Threw a sandwich allegedly at an ICE officer or a Border Patrol agent, found not guilty of misdemeanor assault, a massive embarrassment for the DOJ after they previously failed to secure felony indictments against him. A jury of his peers said not guilty. You had a federal judge in Chicago, Judge Ellis, issue a restraining order against the Trump regime for their excessive force tactics, the gassing, chemical warfare against the people in Chicago. We'll talk about that. Judge McConnell in Rhode Island found that the Trump regime violated his order by depriving people of the SNAP benefits that they're entitled to and starving them to death. You've got the Trump DOJ in the Comey case doing everything they can to resist trying to turn over grand jury transcripts, and Lindsay Halligan like self-selected portions that she gave to the judge. It's a total mess and a disaster over there. You had the Supreme Court case against Trump's tariffs against the world, where even the right-wing justices were like, what the hell are you doing here? You're just making up that this statute that has nothing to do with tariffs has to deal with tariffs. Tariffs are core Article 1 functions, and all of that's taking place. You've got MAGA Mike humiliating himself every single day. Donald Trump has never looked weaker, and freaking Marjorie Taylor Greene is out there sounding like the voice of reason right now. Meanwhile, jobless claims exploded. Another 153,000 jobs were lost in October. Add that to the 950,000 jobs that were lost in the first 3 quarters of the year. Basically, the only time it's been worse is the Great Recession and COVID. That's not good data. But Donald Trump's out there bragging that Thanksgiving is going to be way cheaper and everybody's really, really happy. We've got a lot to discuss. Brett and Jordy, it's great to see you both.
It's great to be here, brothers. It's great to be here, Midas Mighty. Always a pleasure to be reporting and analyzing the news with you here on the MeidasTouch Podcast. By the way, all the people watching live right now, please remember to go and check out the MeidasTouch Podcast anywhere you find podcasts on audio. Wow, I think the reverberations are still sounding from Tuesday's elections where, let's face it, Republicans got shellacked. It was a huge win, not only for Democrats, but for democracy as a whole. I mean, the voters came out with a total and complete repudiation and rejection of MAGA, of Trump, of everything that these Republicans stand for. So what do the Republicans do? They double down on all their failed policies. They double down on all their failed messaging. They refuse to learn any lessons from it, and we've just been seeing that right now. At the end of the day, people feel what's going on in this economy. They feel the damage that this regime is causing them day in and day out. And MAGA Mike may think he's slick, and Trump may think he's slick by going out there and lying and gaslighting the American people every day. But that's never worked in American history. When people go to the grocery store, I don't care if you're hiding the inflation data. I'll tell you what your inflation data is. It's the receipt that you get after the groceries are rung up. That's your inflation data right there. Want to hide the inflation reports? I get one every time I go to the grocery store. We see how expensive things are getting. So hide it at your own peril. Lie at your own peril, Republicans. The American people are wising up, and if you don't change your act soon, get ready for another blue tsunami in the 2026 midterms. Jordy, what's the latest on your end?
Let's go. I am still feeling the good vibes of earlier in the week, and I can't wait to get into today's episode. Shellacking, Brett. I haven't heard that word in quite some time. I'm glad
it's a goodie, right?
Because that's what it was. It was a complete shellacking to MAGA, to the Trump regime this week that we saw, because people are pissed and people are not going to be gaslit by this administration any friggin' longer. Benji, what's going on?
Well, look, Donald Trump has a message to the American people. So lots of people took, various messages from Tuesday's blue wave. I think one of the more significant ones is affordability is a real significant issue, that inflation surging has crippled people. This was a repudiation of Donald Trump, right? But Trump's message, the voters want him to do something. Invade Nigeria. Yeah. Invade Nigeria. So he made a video about that yesterday. Here, play this clip.
We're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. These are...
What the F? I mean, you watch that, and under normal circumstances, that would be what? A president declaring war on a country, right? I mean, first off, he says it sounds like a sexual abuser, like when he's just addressed that, right? Like, I mean, the language that he talks about invasion is like it's grotesque. Even the words, whether they like it or not, this is what he's going to do. Like he's a sick human being. And then just threatening war. So that was one of the main messages that he had. The other is that he's just going to pretend that not only is inflation not real, not only is he going to claim he solved this, he's going to say that he made Thanksgiving 25% cheaper based, he says, on a powerful statement. Powerful. Walmart made a powerful statement, he says. Ugh. That's what I'm talking about. That he says that the groceries are 25% cheaper. And so I'll show you what he said first, then I'll show you what he posted. Here, play this clip.
Maybe in the history of our country.
This has been a major achievement for your administration, targeting the segment of our population that needs it the most, that has the highest obesity rates. You're making it affordable. You are truly saving lives. That's coming from the viewers that we've had in that 1 hour that we took a little bit of a break. My question to you is, Walmart just pushed out a report that says this year's traditional Thanksgiving meal will cost 25% less than it did under the Biden administration, plus gas prices being down in the $2 region makes it more affordable to travel to grandma's house this Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. And it's not so much a question, it's a statement. I would have made the statement, but we have a lot of things happening, so I wouldn't necessarily have made it right now. So Walmart, to me, that's AAA, came out that nobody going to influence them. I don't know them. But they just came out with a very powerful statement. They've done it for many years, that under the Biden administration, a Thanksgiving meal with all the trimmings cost 25% more. In other words, our Thanksgiving this year coming up will cost 25% less than sleepy Joe Biden's. Now, to me, that's better than anything there is. That's better than a poll. They've got everything included, from the trimmings and from the turkey and from everything, a lot of different items. It's 25% less this year than it was last year when he was so-called in charge. He wasn't in charge. The people around the desk were in charge. The auto pen was in charge. That is a big factor.
Okay. Do you feel at home that your Thanksgiving is 25% cheaper? Does that resonate with you as a real fact? Let's see how they're lying. Brett, the MeidasTouch fact check right away. You see, the 2025 Walmart Thanksgiving meal contained only 15 items, while the 2024 meal contained 21 items. Additionally, most of the brand name items in the 2024 meal were replaced with great value items, or like the more generic items. And so it's, I guess, literally comparing apples to, not oranges, quarter of an apples.
I mean, let me just break it down. He's bragging about shrinkflation, right? Walmart, because the economy is struggling so much under the Trump administration, had to figure out a way to lower the price of their Thanksgiving meals. So they removed about a third of what comes in the meals. And then for the rest of it, they took the brand name stuff and they replaced it with their value brands. That's what actually happened. That's the truth of what's happening. That's what Trump is bragging about. It's another recession indicator. And as we look through all the economic data right now, we see recession indicator after recession indicator after recession indicator. I've noticed the phrase, Ben and Jordy and Midas Mighty, that continues to come up in nearly every economic tweet that I see, in every story that I see in the New York Times or the Post or whatever. Here's the phrase you see, and this is a warning sign, in my opinion, whenever you see it. Since 2009. You'll see that a lot. Since 2009. Jobless claims have not been this high since 2009. Inflation since 2000. You look at all the various things they keep going back to since 2009, which is, or they go back to, at first the COVID pandemic, since the COVID pandemic or since 2009. Both very, very, very bad signs for this economy. And Donald Trump and MAGA Mike Johnson, despite the shellacking, Jordy, that they took on Tuesday, the shellacking, they continue to go out there and just lie to the American people. And if this is their plan, if they think that they could go out there and tell the American people that things are cheap when they know that things are not cheap, the shellacking we saw on Tuesday is going to look like a blip. Like, I'm assuming behind the scenes they have a better plan than this. I don't know. But if this really is their strategy, it's one of those things where it's like, never interrupt your enemy while they're making a mistake, because this is like the biggest mistake imaginable that you could be making as a political party. They are still pretending that they are invincible, but people see through the BS right now. And now we have hard data about just how furious the American people are at this administration, including those key groups that Republicans have been bragging about that they've kind of captured over these past few months. How many times, and the media, by the way, was played such a big role in this too. How many times have you seen these legacy media stories that say Gen Z is, they're MAGA now, they're pro-Republicans, there's a whole new generation out there and they're all ultra-conservative, or Latino voters, they're ultra-conservative now, Trump totally changed the game, it's a permanent shift. Well, the election showed that the Republicans lost all their ground with all their voters, that those voters maybe flirted with them a little bit during the 2024 election, but once they got a taste of what it was like living under Republican leadership and living under Donald Trump, they said, I need to get the hell away. I need to get as far away from this crap as possible. And that's what they did. And we're seeing the Republicans make excuse after excuse after excuse, but their excuses just don't match reality. And as I said, this is the approach they want to take, so be it.
It's why I love here at the MeidasTouch Network, we deal with facts and data and the truth and receipts, because once you start from a position where I'm just going to be honest, I'm going to tell the truth here, then you don't have to play cover up and you don't have to start swimming for answers and really just, trying to recover once you gaslight people into hating you, quite simply. And so what we see here from MAGA Mike Johnson and Donald Trump every day, they're acting as if it's business as usual, if everything is super friggin' normal right now. And Brett, to your point, in the data, it does not reflect that anymore. And the people are pissed. They're pissed at this regime for the constant gaslighting, because to your point, when you go to the grocery store, that's the facts, that's the data, that's the literal receipt that I need to know that something is horribly wrong right now in this country. And so Trump could be up there all he wants saying what he's saying, but the facts are, affordability is the biggest issue on people's minds, and they know when they're being lied to, and they know that this world right now is not affordable for them, Ben.
I love how, sorry.
Go, Brett.
I was going to say, I love how now all these, Republicans, while they're trying to pretend that everything's great, all of a sudden you see them trying to adopt the messaging of the Democrats during this election cycle. And all of a sudden there is like Donald Mamdani Trump over here going, affordability, that's an interesting word, new word, affordability. Have you heard of this word, affordability? It's like,
the only one in this golden age that this Trump regime has been taunting and flaunting and putting out there is Donald Trump and his entire regime and his entire cabinet. That's who's living in the golden age, quote unquote, while the American people are suffering. I mean, goddamn, they're having these Gatsby parties at Mar-a-Lago.
It's crazy.
In people's faces.
I want to remind everybody too, we haven't received a jobs report in months. They're not releasing the inflation reports. And so the numbers that we have to rely upon right now is from private data, because the Bureau of Labor Statistics isn't releasing anything. Like, just first off, think about how absurd that is. But as I said, even if they want to hide the data, they can't. People know if they're being laid off. The layoffs are being announced every single day. These private companies are doing the data. People know when they go to the store that things are more expensive. And so we got one of these reports today from Challenger, one of these groups that does these, analytics of these reports. And the layoff numbers are just incredible. I mean, watch CNBC break it down here, because this really is showing the cracks, maybe even putting it lightly, in our current economy here in the United States. Watch this.
This is about the health of the job market. Steve Leisman joins us with the latest numbers from Challenger on job cuts. What's going on?
Yeah, well, this is like a clue from like a cough or a sneeze or whatever. But announced corporate job cuts, Andrew, in the U.S. surging past 1 million so far this year, with 153,000 new layoffs announced just in October, according to Challenger. That is the worst October since 2003. Here are the numbers. October up 153. That compares with September. That's 100,000 more than September, and 100,000 more than this time last year in October 2024. Andy Challenger commenting, some industries are correcting after the hiring boom of the pandemic, but this comes as AI adoption, softening consumer and corporate spending, and rising costs drive belt tightening and hiring freezes. Announced layoffs don't always lead to actual cuts and could take place from attrition, but the report puts in perspective what we've been reporting here day after day, week after week. Series of marquee announcements unveiled in recent weeks across U.S. industries, including UPS, Amazon, Target, among others, Paramount, Rivian, all these companies there. Government has been responsible year to date for 308,000. But look at that, tech 141. That could be where you see a lot of the AI, maybe some in warehousing, but a big chunk of that's going to be UPS, as well as potentially some hit from reduced flows of trade. Retail's up there, as is services at 64,000. You take out the Doge cuts, the number's a bit better at 800,000, but still well above last year. Challenger doesn't see much in the way of hiring, saying announced plans are 35% below last year, and they're skeptical about the number of new hires for the holiday season.
One of the terms we hear being thrown around now because the economy is so bad is K-shaped growth, or a K-shaped economy. You may have heard that term. Like, what do they mean by K-shaped? Just think about the letter K, right? In the letter K, there's one line that goes straight up, and there's one line that goes straight down, and then you have the vertical line, right? That's a K. So the line going up, all the billionaires are crushing it, and they're doing better than ever. The line going down is basically the Great Recession currently taking place, or perhaps even a depression of regular Americans who are getting absolutely screwed right now. The people who can't afford rent, who can't afford their mortgage, if they're lucky enough to be able to even take out a mortgage, they're the ones who are terrified that healthcare is being ripped away. They're on SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, food stamps, psychologically tortured by what this regime is doing. Also, when you talk about 3% year over year inflation, that's what 3% means. You know, people toss around the number, oh, inflation's 3%. Like, what does that actually mean? It means it's 3% higher than last year. And so if it was 3% higher the prior year, and if it was 6 or 7% higher the prior year and 4% higher the prior year, what that means right now is it's 3% higher than basically the cumulative total of what it was 4 or 5 years ago. So cumulatively over the past 4 or 5 years, that means inflation could be at 20% higher, basically, for people whose wages are not keeping pace with that. Quite the contrary, who are being laid off from their jobs, whose wages are decreasing right now. And so I think that's an important point. Jordy, going back to the other data that's out there, which I think is important to address. You know, I interviewed Governor Shapiro of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And one of the things he pointed out is he goes, within Pennsylvania, there are these 3 bellwether counties, and one of them's like Bucks County, right? Which is the swingiest county in the swingiest swing state. Bucks County, right? You take a look at every position, from the judges, the DAs, the school boards, right? Massive shifts from red to blue from 2024 to the present. The same thing in their other swing districts. You look in Georgia, where there were statewide elections. massive swings from red to blue there. You look in New Jersey, areas where Trump was able to shift voters, often in Latino areas, but other areas too, from blue to red. That shift went back to Mikey Sherrill, if not even more than existed before. You look at Virginia, 13 Republican House of Delegate seats. These are Republican seats, flipped blue. 13 of them. This is unheard of data that's out there. Then you look across the nation and you see other data points like that as well. So what we're fundamental, and then you look at the school boards, which I think is a big deal as well. Those MAGA school boards, they're getting wiped out of the school boards. All of the pee-pee, poopy patrol people and the kitty litter people, like all of that, bombs of liberty, all that stuff, those book burning people, they're getting pushed out, and normal people are taking those roles. So that's what I mean. We follow the data. And I just think that there's a bigger story that needs to be told than what
Ben, that's not what Mike Johnson's telling me. Mike Johnson's getting out there every day. He's saying, we have nothing to be concerned about here at this peer party. We got nothing to be concerned about. These were just Democrats voting in Democrat elections in blue states, and we just have nothing to worry about here, do we, folks? I mean, obviously just a blatant lie as Ben just went through the list. I mean, Democrats breaking the supermajority in Mississippi, Democrats winning in Georgia, Democrats winning in Pennsylvania, Democrats winning in Virginia. I mean, you could go through the list. They're sending a clear message right now. And when we see that economic data, that we just presented from that CNBC report and all the other information we were talking about, I really don't realize, I don't think that people fully realize how bad the economy actually is right now, because it's been floated right now by all of this money. It's been floated by AI having a breakthrough. It's been floated by, honestly, kind of like a scammy like stock market right now that is way overvalued. And you see all of this stuff and it just doesn't reflect what's actually happening on the ground. And like, I'll tell you this, there's a reason this hasn't even been a big story, but to me, this is like one of the biggest financial stories out there right now, that the Fed has been forced to pump in something like $125 billion into the banks in the past week. They had to pump in all of this cash because their reserves are so low right now. They like barely have any reserves. And so right now the Fed is getting really worried that they're not going to have enough money. And so they're funneling these emergency funds in there. And you don't do that when things are going great. So I think you see, when they talk about, when like people use the term and they're like, they're turning on the money printer, the money printer's on. Well, the money printer is at full blast right now in the Fed, and it's reflective of what's going on with the economy. And to me, what I'm looking at right here with that, shellacking, this episode needs to be called the shellacking of Republicans. With that shellacking that the Republicans took, it's hard not to imagine that they right now are just holding their hands and praying to God that they're able to keep this economy afloat and keep the Ponzi scheme going just long enough to hand it off to the Democrats at a certain point and then pull the rug and let the whole thing drop, because that's exactly what it's looking like. And hey, there's a historical precedent for it. I mean, look at what George W. Bush did, right? Look at what all these Republicans who take power do. It's kind of their MO. It's what they do. They pump up the economy with good vibes and all their bullshit, and then they destroy it because they're chasing this candy rush, this candy high, and which is actually horrible for the economy. And the economy implodes, just as every economic expert says it's going to, by them taking the actions that they're going to take.
That's the sick thing and by the way, I mean, Donald Trump hates America. Like, let's be very clear. Like, he hates the country. He hates Americans. He hates everything this country stands for. He hates our Constitution. And these MAGA Republicans, they hate America. Like, let's not mince words. What they're now just trying to pull, your point exactly, pull this far enough along where you can then just blame the Democrats. And because that's their whole shtick, just blame the Democrats. Like, it doesn't matter what happens to the country, to these MAGAs, because they hate it. They hate everything about it. As long as they're personally okay and they can blame Democrats, that's their whole shtick. And that's not okay. That's not what our country should stand for. Let's take our first quick break of the show. Everybody hit subscribe right here. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Hit join, become a member of our YouTube channel as well. and get memberships for other people. That helps us grow as well. All right, we're going to take our first quick break of the show. We'll be right back. We'll talk about some of those legal updates, including Sean Dunn, the guy who allegedly threw the sandwich, was found.
What sandwich?
What sandwich? Let's take our first quick break.
If you're wondering what to get the cook in your life or what to hint at for your own wish list, Hexclad is it. I've been using a Hexclad for a while now. I have been absolutely obsessed. These pans are sexy, durable, and they make every meal feel like you're cooking in a professional kitchen. Holiday season is here, and let's be real, the kitchen is where it all goes down. Big roasts, game day feasts, endless sides, I love sides, and all those holiday desserts. And if your current pans panic at high heat or burn the gravy, well, it's time for an upgrade. Enter Hexclad, the cookware that's as serious about performance as you are about carving that holiday turkey. These pans give you the perfect sear, crazy durability, and easy cleanup without the babysitting. Stainless steel strength, toxin-free nonstick convenience, and yeah, they look damn good on the stovetop when the whole crew is over. Hexclad's 6-piece and 12-piece sets are the ultimate gift for yourself or for the home chef in your life. Whether you're starting fresh or going big, these bundles cover every dish, every craving, and every holiday spread. Plus, every Hexclad product comes with a lifetime warranty. You heard that right. A lifetime warranty. So you're not just buying cookware, you are setting someone up for years of meals, memories, and celebrations. This season, don't just shop for gifts. Give the upgrade every kitchen deserves. Take 10% off at hexclad.com/Meidas and cook like a pro all holiday long. Treat yourself or give the gift of cookware that delivers for every meal, every gathering, every season. That's HEXCLAD.com/Meidas, MEIDAS. Support the show and let them know we sent you.
How much time, money, and energy have you spent on health, wellness, and beauty products to look and feel younger and healthier? If you're like me, probably too much. Now, I'm so excited to share with you guys C15 from Fatty 15, the first emerging essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. Now, it's an incredible scientific breakthrough to support our long-term health and wellness, and you guessed it, healthy aging. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson, she discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the U.S. Navy to continually improve the health and welfare of aging dolphins. Now, based on over 100 studies, we now know that C15 strengthens our cells and is a key to healthy aging nutrient, which helps to slow biological aging at the cellular level. Now, in fact, when our cells don't have enough C15, they become fragile and age faster. And when our cells age, our bodies age too. So Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, patent 100% pure C15 supplement. It's vegan-friendly, free of flavors, allergens, or preservatives. Fatty 15 has 3 times more cellular benefits than omega-3s or fish oil. I love Fatty 15. I've personally seen the benefits. Definitely check this stuff out. Best of all, Fatty 15 comes in a gorgeous reusable glass bamboo jar, and refills are shipped right to your door. Now, Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help support your long-term health and wellness, now especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/Meidas and using code Meidas at checkout. Let's go. Shout out to our sponsors. Links in description of both YouTube and the audio. Use the links, use the codes. If there's an exit survey, let them know we sent you. Real quick, I see people talking about it in the chat. Yeah, different angle. I have a different angle today for the podcast. You guys might see this. So real quick, Ben, I'll throw it over to you. I know you love when I go on these tangents. I had a lot of forehead, my wife said. She's like, your forehead is just too big on the show when we did the stream on Monday. She's like, let's resurface you. And so we worked on that, and this is my new studio.
I think your forehead. I think your forehead looked great. I think your forehead looked great. I gotta say,
thanks.
And you're looking good. Don't worry. No matter what angle, Jordy, you're one of those. No matter what angle you look good, you know. I'm sure the Meidas might will agree.
Angie, we're too nice.
I mean, look though, the bigger the forehead, the easier target it is to chuck a sandwich at.
I was waiting. I was like, how's Ben gonna make this transition?
You know what they say about people with big foreheads? bigger target to throw.
Big target for
Subway
sandwich. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
What they say. So 37-year-old Sean Dunn worked at the Department of Justice during the invasion by ICE and Border Patrol of Washington, D.C. Sean Dunn, protecting the community, was caught on camera holding a sandwich. There are some who say that he threw the sandwich at the ICE officer. There are others who say he did not. There are others who say that he was offering it because he thought that the ICE officer was hungry.
Hard times. We like the sandwich.
The Trump economy was such that he was offering the meal because he saw the ICE agent working overtime. And so I'll just show you the clip right here. And when I watch it, I don't see anything. So you tell me what you see. I don't see anything. Here, play this clip. It's interesting.
I thought it was very clear. I thought he said, "Excuse me, officer. Times are tough out there. Would you like the sandwich?"
And then I see a
You guys
car.
have handed me sandwiches harder than that growing up.
Well, I see the car moving past. I see his hand. Almost, he looks like he's asking for a sandwich, Sean Dunn. I get what the jury was doing here, and I think that what was kind of clear is that I don't know. Let me see it one more time, Brett. Just play it one more time. Hold on. I'll try to look. Yeah, it's interesting. From that angle, I don't see it at all. So
yeah, no, at that time I actually didn't see I didn't see anything. No. Yeah, no.
It's like in all seriousness, let me be very, very clear. There was no Sam. No, in all seriousness, the defense was basically a self-defense, right? It was Constitution allows you to have self-defense. ICE, Border Patrol showed up attacking people with gas, chemical weapons. You're trying to kill people, right? And you can imagine a persuasive argument being made to the jury that where the government overreaches and tries to kill, harass, and harm people in the community, you have a right to protect yourself and to protect people. And the Constitution allows that to happen. Self-defense is a defense. And you could imagine a persuasive argument to say, look, he didn't use a weapon. He didn't use a gun or a bat, or, he protected the community with a Subway sandwich. And isn't that or whatever the sandwich was? Now, and isn't that noble? So it really wasn't, did he throw the sandwich or not? I mean, obviously the jury can see the video, right? Like I'm not trying to, I'll get serious here, right? The issue was he acting in self-defense and protecting himself and the community from these threats? And I think the jury said, especially a Washington, D.C. jury, right? That's what's watching this case and see this case is saying, yeah, like we are the victims of an invasion is what's taking place. And this guy is a hero. Here, I mean, literally and figuratively. Here is here he is after he won the case. Let's play this clip.
Firstly, I'd like to thank especially Sabrina, Julia, and Nick for countless hours, and the rest of the team at Steptoe. And I would like to thank Steptoe for offering all of their services pro bono.
Feeding me.
Yes. I would like to thank family and friends and strangers for all of their support, whether it was emotional or spiritual or artistic or financial. To the people that opened their hearts and homes to me, I am eternally grateful. And I am so happy that justice prevails in spite of everything happening. And that night I believe that I was protecting the rights of immigrants. And let us not forget that the Great Seal of the United States says e pluribus unum. That means from many, one. Every life matters, no matter where you came from, no matter how you got here, no matter how you identify, you have the right to live a life that is free. Thank you.
Sean, what does that have to do with throwing a sandwich?
What do you?
Right. All right, thank you very much. I stand by my original comment. Take God.
So it may have been hard for you to hear the one part though where he said thanks to Steptoe. That's the name of the law firm that offered their services pro bono. Steptoe LLP, just the name of the firm. So Meidas Mighty, if you have the chance after, send a thank you note to Steptoe. I think it's steptoe.com is the name of the law firm. And I'm sure they have an inquiry page, and you can say the Meidas Mighty thanks you for doing the case pro bono, because they spent a lot of hours and a lot of time doing the case. But
no matter which way you slice it, they got a good result, and that case is now a wrap. I don't want to
Stop it.
I don't want to relish in it.
Stop.
What?
Stop it.
Stop what? I was on a roll.
As Jacob Rubishkin writes, the White House made a whole video about arresting this sandwich guy like he was El Chapo, and he was just acquitted of the only misdemeanor charge that stuck. So
Should we play it? Should we play this crazy video?
Yeah, before playing it, I just want to remind everybody, they went to a grand jury first to indict him on felonies, and no grand jury would do it. So they brought it as a misdemeanor case. And how embarrassing that the Department of Justice from the United States government in D.C., which is now run by Judge Jeanine Pirro from Fox, the Fox host runs it, that they would even bring this case. I missed one that they wouldn't be able to secure an indictment of the guy in the split.
Let's be honest. That's why this sandwich case was half baked.
It was half baked. Then they brought it. Then they couldn't get a conviction. It's as embarrassing as you can get for the DOJ. But this is the video they made when they arrested the guy. This is a real video from the Department of Homeland Security website that the White House also posted. The White House and DHS. Here, play it.
Coming down.
Come out with the sandwich, mother. Come out with the sandwich. Come out with the. Come out, or else we're gonna bring in some secret sauce.
Jordy thinks my sandwich jokes are cheesy.
They are very cheesy. All right, but other legal news as well. The Trump regime is now appealing Judge McConnell's order in Rhode Island. Pay the freaking SNAP benefits. They're appealing it. They don't want to pay the SNAP benefits so badly. They are appealing his order where he found that they violated it by not paying the SNAP benefits. And they are rushing to a court of appeals to not pay the SNAP benefits. They rushed to pay Argentina $40 billion. Argentina got $40 billion, okay? This emergency fund is about $6 billion, okay? And they are saying, no. When it comes to our citizens, we got to starve them to death. When it comes to Argentina, where, by the way, they also have universal health care in Argentina, we got to bail them out. $40 billion to Argentina. What? That's all I have to say. I mean, so when MAGA Mike does his little gaslighting press conferences, the Trump regime is actually saying, we don't want to pay SNAP. So that's Judge McConnell. Then you had Judge Ellis. Judge Ellis in Chicago issued a restraining order against the Trump regime. Again, there was a preliminary one issued, but she said the conduct in Chicago, quote, shocks the conscience. And that's also the standard for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Shocks the conscience, the behavior that's going on, using chemical warfare against citizens, uncitizens, just engaging in brutality. There's this video, and Brett, I think we have it in our assets today. MSNBC talked about it. But it's this case out of Los Angeles, near where my wife's family lives. And the ICE agents kidnapped like a little child. They took the dad out of the car, and then they jumped in the car with their masks and drove away with the child. And they later released the dad. They drove away with the kid. Brett, do we have that one where they drive away with the child? I think we got that one.
Yeah, I'll play it.
The one that specifically I'm thinking about is the one that he himself, the governor of California, was sitting watching this broadcast yesterday and sent a text to my cell phone with a video of a raid from Los Angeles, which I think we have, at Cypress Park Home Depot. I've talked to you from that very Home Depot before. It's around the corner from my house. Look at inside this car. They took a U.S. citizen father out and left a toddler in the back seat. Two heavily armed Border Patrol agents got in that car and drove the child and the vehicle away. Homeland Security says that that father had a pistol in the car, threw rocks at law enforcement, yet he was later released, and the child was returned to the family. Lawyers are saying if there was anything to that story, why didn't they take the kid and lock the father up? And Gavin Newsom wrote to me, I am shaking. He's sick. I'm sick. Our country is sick.
And Newsom says it correctly. There's no other way to look at it. What's going on? How sick is that? Did you see that?
It's disgraceful. It's horrific. I mean, it's horrific to watch. And this is this is exactly what the voters rejected, right? People don't like seeing this crap. It's beneath the dignity of a president of the United States of America. And it goes back to, I think, the Supreme Court ruling, the immunity ruling, which, if it hasn't already, will go down as the worst ruling in the history of this country, giving Donald Trump the immunity to do whatever the hell he wants, because the guy feels invincible and he feels like he could go out and do this because there's going to be no consequences for it. Well, all the people around Donald Trump who are just following orders, we've seen how it works out for those people in history, and we'll see how it works out for these folks. And we're starting to see these judges around the country, like Judge Sarah Ellis-Ben, who are starting to at least put some boundaries and some consequences on these people. But what we're seeing out there right now is just atrocious. And I think that's one of the reasons why we saw such enthusiasm at the polls, such energy out there to get out and say, we don't want anything to do with this disgusting regime. And good on Gavin Newsom to speak up and say how disgraceful that this is.
The American people don't just want to vote out these MAGAs. They want them arrested and thrown in prison as war criminals. And where people are pissed off at the Democrats is when you're not channeling that same energy, because we see war crimes, crimes against humanity taking place on a daily basis by Donald Trump and his regime in the name of the United States. So acting like it's normal or just tough politics. Nah. These are war criminals. That's who they are. I mean, and this is what I like now that we have Leader Jeffrey saying it this way, right? He calls it the PPP, the Pedo Protection Program. That's what it is. I mean, Donald Trump and these MAGA Republicans are covering up for a child sex trafficking ring. And we've talked about on the other shows, the more data that comes out, we learned that there were suspicious activity reports, SARs from JP Morgan Chase, that showed $1 billion in potential money laundering by Jeffrey Epstein and those in his orbit. $1 billion connected with his sex trafficking ring. Let me say that number again, $1 billion. Then in the suspicious activity report, it talks about connections with Russian banks as part of the $1 billion money laundering sex trafficking ring. That will be in the Epstein files. Yet Trump and MAGA are covering that up. And I think we see more and more why they're covering it up and how bad the info must be that's in there. Remember what we've been focusing on the MeidasTouch network as well. We've always been focused on Trump's links with Epstein, but we've been also very surgical in our reporting, because remember how we've been talking about that property that Donald Trump acquired from that guy Abe Gossman in 2004, which Epstein was supposed to acquire. Then 4 years later, Donald Trump sold it to a Russian oligarch for $95 million when Trump purportedly bought it for $40 million with minimal renovations, making $45 million in 4 years. And Epstein was accusing Donald Trump of engaging in financial improprieties relating to that based on what Epstein told Wolf. And that's what Wolf had reported, Michael Wolf. And then in the emails that Bloomberg got its hands on, those 18,000 Epstein emails from Epstein's Yahoo account, they were the emails from Epstein and Ghislaine talking about WPB, West Palm Beach documents, and then talking about the feds. They must have spoken to Trump, Gossman, and others. I mean, it's in the emails that were released from Epstein. I want to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the Supreme Court oral argument on Trump's tariffs against the world. Let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene turning against Trump and MAGA and what that looks like, and maybe some more topics. But that's probably where we'll finish the show. Last quick break of the show, a reminder, subscribe to our audio podcast if you just watch on YouTube. It helps us out a lot when you subscribe on audio. Leave a 5-star review there. So subscribe on all platforms. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, become a member. Don't just subscribe, become a member. That helps us grow. And you can give membership to as many people as you can. Let's take our last quick break of the show. We'll be back for the final stretch.
Okay, I just got a new piece from Article for my entryway, and I'm not kidding, it completely transformed the space. The modern design ties everything together perfectly, and it just feels right when I walk through the door now. The quality is amazing. You could tell the moment it arrives, it feels durable, solid, and high-end. From the smooth edges to the sturdy hardware and the delivery, super easy. The piece came carefully packaged and was basically ready to go right out of the box. I think it took me like 10 minutes to get it all set up. That's what I love about Article. It makes it effortless to create a stylish, long-lasting home at an unbeatable price. Whether your vibe is mid-century modern, coastal, or Scandi-inspired, every piece is curated to mix and match beautifully. There's no filler here, just great design and craftsmanship that actually lasts. Article also offers fast, affordable shipping across the US and Canada, professional assembly if you want it, and a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, so you can shop completely stress-free. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim this, visit article.com/Meidas and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/Meidas, MEIDAS, for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Check it out.
Ever wake up sweaty, freezing, or just uncomfortable? The temperature in your bedroom can make or break your sleep. That's why I switched to Miracle Made sheets. They're inspired by NASA technology and use silver-infused temperature-regulating fabric to help you sleep perfectly all night long. Miracle Made sheets are crafted with NASA-inspired, silver-infused fabric that helps regulate your body temperature. Hot sleeper, cold sleeper, it doesn't matter. These sheets help keep you in the comfort zone all night long. Thanks to their antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets stay cleaner and fresher up to 3 times longer than regular sheets. That means fewer odors, fewer wash cycles, and way less laundry. They feel just as good, if not better, than sheets you'd find at a 5-star hotel, but without the steep price tag. Smooth, breathable, and ridiculously comfortable. Upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas to try Miracle Made sheets today. You'll save over 40%, and when you use promo code Meidas, you'll get an extra 20% off plus a free 3-piece towel set. They make an amazing gift. With a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. That's trymiracle.com/Meidas, code Meidas at checkout. Thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode. Here's the thing, traditional phone systems weren't built for how businesses work today. And when you miss a call, you're not just missing a conversation, you're losing business. Quo, formerly Open Phone, is the modern alternative designed to help you work smarter, build stronger relationships, and never miss an opportunity. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. No more juggling 2 phones or being tied to a landline. Quo works through an app on your phone or computer, so you can run your business from anywhere. Your team can share one number and collaborate on calls and text like a shared inbox, keeping response times fast and customers happy. Quo makes your phone system smarter with built-in AI, logging calls, creating summaries, and automating next steps. Its AI agent can even answer calls, qualify leads, and route customers to the right teammate so no customer is ever left hanging, even after hours. Whether you're a solo operator or leading a growing team, Quo keeps you connected and helps you deliver standout customer experiences. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo, formerly OpenPhone. Get started free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/Meidas. That's QUO.com/Meidas. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Let's go. Shout out to our sponsors. Links in description of both YouTube and the audio. Use the links, use the codes. If there's an exit survey, let them know we sent you. Benji, where to next?
Trump held a weird press conference earlier in the day. We'll have to see what happens. He says those weight loss drugs, those injections, that he's going to lower the prices, and he had Eli Lilly and other pharmaceuticals there. We'll see what he does right there. In any event, he's starving Americans to death. So 42 million Americans are going to lose SNAP. So just interesting optics that while you starve people to death, you're giving medication for obesity, but a whole other topic. But anyway, while this press conference was going on, a guest of the Eli Lilly CEO was in the Oval Office, and the guy passed out because these things drag on forever. And here's a photo of Donald Trump just literally standing there. This photo was taken by Andrew Harnick of Getty, and you can literally just see what was going down in the White House. Everybody's rendering aid, and Trump's standing there, not even looking at it, not even looking at the guy, not even looking at the scene. Doesn't that just describe everything? Donald Trump. And then he fell asleep during the press conference. So when Oz and other people were talking, out, sleeping, snoring, dunzo. We have videos of the guy sleeps. This isn't like AI. The guy was absolutely sleeping. It's ridiculous. So there's that. I want to talk briefly about the Supreme Court oral argument on tariffs. It's Trump's trade war against the world. Trump invoked a statute called IEPA, which deals with emergency powers as it relates to importation duties, but doesn't mention tariffs in the statute at all or regulating taxes in any way. That's the power of Congress. Article 1, literally the power of taxation, which tariffs are a type of tax. It's kind of very clear. If when I went to Georgetown Law School, you gave me a fact pattern of this situation, and on a constitutional law exam, I would have left that exam saying this is too easy right here. Obviously it's Article 1. The executive branch, Article 2, doesn't have the authority to do this. And I would be woof, I dodged a bullet right there with that question. That was an easy one. So from my perspective, you still never know what this right-wing Supreme Court's going to do, but the way they seem to analyze this issue is under something called the major questions doctrine, which is just how the Supreme Court makes up a framework to justify the outcome that it wants. So when it calls something major questions, you usually can tell the outcome. So their view of it is that if Congress wanted to delegate away its entire Article 1 power of taxation, and tariffs are a form of taxation, in the statute, in the law that it passed to do that as a delegation, it would at very least use the word tariff. It would say tariff, you have the right to do it because it's a major question, right? So you shouldn't have to look at a statute and create some sort of tortured interpretation if you're dealing with a major question that impacts something so big, because you would say then Congress clearly would have addressed this in the statute. It would have said, of course, you can wake up and make up that you're upset about Canada for running an advertisement that you don't like, and we hereby give you emergency power. They would say it in the enabling law. Major question. And because Congress never said anything about it, and I'm not talking about what MAGA Mike is saying today. I'll show you a clip of what MAGA Mike said today. Oh, I don't think this infringes on our powers at all. I would have went to Donald Trump and said, Mr. Trump, you've gone too far. I'm sure, MAGA Mike. Congress has to pass something called laws. Remember those things? Those pesky old things called laws. And the law would say, yes, we have in Article 1 the authority to do this in Congress exclusively, but we hereby, for these purposes, and then you would spell it out. And IEPA, this emergency statute, has nothing to do with that. And that's basically where the justices netted out. So that's the broadly the legal analysis there.
And the crazy thing to me watching this is, and I feel like this happens often with Trump and his lawyers, is the lawyers end up having to argue against the things that Donald Trump is saying publicly. So Donald Trump is claiming all these emergency powers to impose tariffs to national emergency. And as I've said here on the show, hard to claim it's a national emergency when you see a TV commercial that gets you upset and then say, I'm raising tariffs by an extra 10%. To me, that falls totally in the face of this is a national emergency if you're imposing tariffs because the TV ad made me sad. Wah, wah, wah. I mean, that just doesn't apply. And so you also saw Trump goes out every day and he goes, we're bringing in trillions of dollars, a zillion trillion dollars in tariffs. It's amazing. Oh my God, look at all this revenue. Look at all this revenue. I'm brilliant. It's amazing. Wow. Obviously, all total BS. But the judges also asked Donald Trump's attorneys about that because they're like, these emergency powers aren't for revenue raising, yet Donald Trump and the White House keep bragging about raising revenue. And so what is it? Is this emergency or is it for revenue? And so you saw, who was it? Sauer, Ben, Trump's lawyer, the lawyer who was on the case there, like John Sauer, you saw him like out there, like really on his heels in these questions. A lot of the questions even coming from the so-called conservative justices on the bench there. It'll be interesting to see what they do from that initial, those initial arguments. It didn't seem like they were so into the idea of Donald Trump being unilaterally allowed to impose tariffs based on his feelings. So we'll see what happens there. But MAGA Mike, I mean, what a disgrace, as you said, just completely abdicating all of his responsibility, all of his roles. It was supposed to be a check on power. This is supposed to be an Article 1 power of Congress. MAGA Mike just totally giving up that authority. They voted themselves out of that authority like a few months ago, or recently, where they were like, oh yeah, we're not allowed to even we're not going to vote on any tariff legislation until March of 2026 or something. Like the Republican Congress did that to themselves. Like, so you see in the Senate, you see that there's some folks like Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell and like Lisa Murkowski, the usual kind of suspects over there, who are actually going along with these votes to block Donald Trump's tariffs, either globally or in specific circumstances like with Canada or Brazil. But in the House, like literally Mike Johnson, they made a rule that they can't even take up any tariff cases. They've stripped themselves of power. And that goes back to something we've said on the show a lot. Like, what the hell is the point of living your life, getting into a position of power where you could actually have an influence on people, ideally a positive influence on people, and then you go, nah, not gonna do anything. Whenever Donald wants, it's all you. It's an affront to the entire country. It's an affront to the United States of America. And I think about, when we think about Mike Johnson, I think about, Speaker Emerita Pelosi today announcing her retirement. And after all these years, what a historic, powerhouse of a figure Speaker Pelosi is. And also it reminded me just how also small Mike Johnson is. Like, here you have this, giant in politics, somebody who actually knew how to, regardless of what you think about her, she was somebody who knew how to get shit done. And she was perhaps the most effective speaker that we've ever seen in the history of our country. And then to see a Mike Johnson basically follow up and be like the worst, tiniest, smallest, weakest speaker, most cucked speaker on the planet. I mean, it really just shows you the difference in leadership or lack thereof.
Absolutely. No one has been exposed more than Mike Johnson over these last couple of months now, because he is spineless. He's not a leader. And the more he gets up in front of these cameras every day to make excuses as to why the government is shut down, I think it's having that DeSantis effect. When DeSantis was trying to make the run for president, it's like the more people saw him, the more they just hated him. And the more people see MAGA Mike get up there and just be absolutely spineless and just, puppet Donald Trump's talking points, which way it goes, depending on the day, it's an insane thing to watch and frankly play out every day he gets up there and just like tries to blame the Democrats and bring up trans illegal surgery. I mean, he's an insane person and he's spineless.
MAGA Mike got up there today, and they were like, "So you're still doing these press conferences?" Like, okay. And he was like, "Well, I got no choice but to do these press conferences. The American people, they need to hear the truth. They need to hear the truth every day." And like I said before, never interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake. I can tell you, these press conferences are not endearing you with the American people whatsoever.
Well, it's so great. We have Asen pull the clips right away. Asen's our head editor of all of the clips. I wake up and I'm like, oh, he's doing it again. I'm like, oh, perfect. This is going to be a great video, and I just show his words. And he's so detestable and hateable that people are like, yeah, like, what are you talking about? I mean, here was MAGA Mike today. We have the clip where he said, I just don't think that this power encroaches upon what we do in Congress. And if I did, I would do it in my own way. I'd say, Mr. Donald, Mr. Trump, you got to stop that. You got to stop it. You think we believe that? I mean, the guy is such a clown show. Here, watch this.
Don't read too much into the questions. This is how the process works. I'm sure the court will look at this very carefully and deliberately as they do, and I expect that we'll have a majority of the court that says that this administration is doing what they have the legal authority to do. If I felt like the executive branch had overstepped its bounds on trade or on the tariffs or something, I would have stepped in. I mean, that's my job as the Speaker of the House over the legislative branch. I would have done it in my own way, to be candid. I would have gone to the president privately and said, hey, sir, enough. I think you're overstepped the bounds. Let's try to figure that out. I wouldn't have publicly had a big spat with him because it wouldn't have been necessary. But that conversation didn't happen because I believe that what he's done is well within the bounds. And so we'll see what the court does. Yes.
It's like literally the thing that's most out of bounds, like the most, right? It would be like, I don't know, in like a soccer match of all of a sudden, or football if you're not in the United States, like someone just picking up the ball with their hands, right? And like just throwing it in the net. Like, it's like, okay, what sport are you playing? Like, it's literally the most out of bounds. Article 1, the bounds are your power of the purse, taxation, tariffs, that's you. Donald Trump, the presidency, I hate that he's there. It's to faithfully execute those laws. That's it. To faithfully execute the laws. To take care, the take care clause, that it's faithfully executed. Then Article 3 is the judiciary. Like, there's no more flagrant example, than this. And look, I've been focused on the White House East Wing. One of the reasons for checks and balances and doing things the right way also is like, and whether it's the East Wing, whether it's the war crimes that our government's committing, Venezuela and the Caribbean, Colombia, killing all these people. I mean, hundreds of people were just murdering. It's like war criminal murderers. I mean, Hegseth is a war criminal. I mean, it's sick. I mean, he should be tried for war crimes when this regime is out of power. For sure, he's a war criminal. And I think he will be, in my view. In any event, we want to avoid these things. Like, we need checks to stop these things. And here's something that I've been talking about with the East Wing. Brett, you remember I was talking about asbestos? I'm like, they built asbestos. They put asbestos all over the East Wing. I said,
things like used to be built with asbestos. Like, it's how like a lot of buildings used to be.
Non-union job. I said, do you see those clouds? I said, I bet you that they're exposing those workers to lethal asbestos. And the people in that area are going to get like mesothelioma. Like, they're going to like kill him. Like, he's going to kill, he's actually going to kill those people. And by the way, the people working at the White House, there's a lot of people who may have been exposed to very deadly asbestos right now. And you had Senator Markey ask this question of union workers who were there on an unrelated hearing about what they've heard about the demolition of the East Wing. Here, listen in.
LIUNA runs a world-class apprenticeship program that includes training on asbestos abatement. Many old buildings were constructed and renovated when asbestos-laden products were industry standard, including the White House. Are you aware of any permits or other indications that the White House, that President Trump, took any of the appropriate safety steps when Trump demolished the East Wing of the White House to protect against asbestos exposure?
I'm not aware of anything that they would have done to protect.
So the White House could have exposed workers and passersby to deadly asbestos. Is that your view?
They could have, and I can tell you, had it been a union workforce, we would have access to that. This administration chose to use a non-union workforce to go do that on a union project. One of the first things we teach in our apprenticeship is to have your brother, your sister's back. And if you see something, you say something. If something's unsafe, you can stop that work. This isn't a union job site, so we have no access to it. So I don't know what's going on out there.
No, thank you. And those safety standards, they exist for a reason. It's to protect workers. It's to protect.
Yeah. Watch that story in the next 5, 10, 15 years when we see people dying of cancers because of their mesotheliomics, but because of the asbestos exposure. I mean, that's literally like we know, look, as a litigator, I never handled those asbestos mesotheliomic, but one of the things that the law created, people would die so quickly from it that there were laws that had to be created to expedite the cases to make sure their family would be able to get the recovery. So, and then finally,
it's one of the reasons why I think, I just want to say, it's one of the reasons why I think Trump is just like a bad, obviously not just a horrible president. I think he's like legitimately horrible at his job as well. And it's also why his companies were so bad and why he tries to cut corners. And like the thing that I don't understand about it is like, objectively speaking, if you wanted to step back and be like, if Trump's idea was, I think it's important right now in this moment to build the ballroom, that's what we should be doing. And just go through the process, right, man? Go to Congress, get your votes, do it the right way, get the union workers to do it, build it the right way. I'm sure you could even build a consensus with the American people. I mean, you have all the branches of government. If you want this to be a project, then make the case for it. But you don't just wake up one day, demolish the building with non-union workers, potentially spread asbestos all over the place, do this ridiculous eyesore while the government shut down, while people are starving. Like, it's just everything he does is just designed for maximum destruction. And there are ways to do things, if you wanted to do them, that are legitimate things that you could actually get people on board with. But this is just chaos and bedlam. This is just ridiculous.
It's just a lack of regard for human life in general, though, as well. And it's just a pattern that we've always seen from Donald Trump. So let's go back to when he got COVID. Y'all remember when he was just riding in the car, like with whomever, and in that hermetically sealed car, just exposing others to COVID that were in there as well. And this is a perfect example here with the asbestos in the White House. And even take it back to how we started this episode with the gentleman who fainted in the White House. And Trump just could not give a damn about anyone aside from Donald Trump. That's the only person he cares about.
I'm going to toss it off to Brett and to close it out because I do want you to show the Marjorie Taylor Greene clip, Brett. I got a little bit of daddy duty I got to attend to but we're in the final stretch. I want you to play Marjorie Taylor Greene. I know we covered a lot here on this episode, and so I just wanted to let everybody know. I know, yeah, but I wanted everybody to know too how big and important I just think this week is, and it shows the power of you, the Midas Mighty, and I want you to hear that from me. And now we have to keep on building, right? We've seen kind of the proof that this is working, and fighting back is working, and getting out the truth is working. And now we just got to keep this momentum going. So that's what I wanted to say. But Brett, show that MTG clip before you go, okay?
Will do. And thanks, Ben. Great having you here. Yeah. And so we've seen Marjorie Taylor Greene in recent days break from the Republican Party. And, the thing is, as I said a few weeks ago on the show, when we started seeing, folks like Tucker Carlson and other people kind of starting to say things that agree with some of the things that we say with on the show, I said, I want to remind you, we're not agreeing with them. They are agreeing with us, first of all. But of course, there are also ulterior motives behind what all of these people do. So before I play Marjorie Taylor Greene's clip, I think at some point you should go and you should watch AOC's explanation for why she believes Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing all this. Basically, she feels slighted by Donald Trump, and she's kind of doing this as a little bit of revenge. But we're also learning other things about it. And many people actually think that Marjorie Taylor Greene I try not to throw up while I say this, but Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to run for president of the United States, and she sees a pathway in which to do that. And so you see her kind of moderating in a way as she does this and going against her own party. But the things she's saying here are certainly very valid, and it shows a fracture in the Republican Party. And beyond those things that I said about, before, I think there's also an element here where, in a weird way, of all people, Marjorie Taylor Greene sees the writing on the wall with MAGA. She sees that this is a dying movement that doesn't really have much of a shelf life. And she knows that she's relatively young and she wants to be in this game for a long time and she wants to rise the ranks. So I think she's looking for her own personal self-interest beyond the MAGA movement. And she's also looking at what's happening in her own district. And there were areas in Georgia right around her where she represented and stuff that flipped in big ways also to the Democrats. She has to be looking at that. And she understands that the stuff that Donald Trump is saying about prices and about Epstein and stuff, that's really pissing people off in her district, and it's pissing off the base of the Republican Party. Like, a lot of these people feel betrayed, and we actually saw a good amount of MAGA voters and Trump voters actually jump ship, as we said earlier in the episode, to actually vote with the Democrats during these elections. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, speaking about the Epstein files, not giving this up, and says, like, basically, like, what's the deal? Like, everyone basically agrees that we should be releasing the Epstein files. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
But what do you say to people, perhaps people in your own district, who feel like his administration isn't being transparent on this issue, and it brings a lot of questions up for them?
I don't really have to explain it. It's pretty much everyone across the board agrees, release the Epstein files. So this is something that I get calls into my office almost every day about. We track all the calls that come into my office, and I think that's extremely important, whether they come from the district or out of district, and it's all over the country. People just want this information released.
What do you?
And Marjorie Taylor Greene, as we said, believes also that the Epstein files may have played a role in the votes on Tuesday.
Is the need for more transparency around the Epstein files. You even told us last month that you're concerned about threats because you want to expose some of the people in power who were on Jeffrey Epstein, who, was part of Jeffrey Epstein's ring. According to the survivors, there's a list of men they haven't released yet. You said you're willing to read that list on the House floor. What more can you tell us about that and the names?
Oh, I told the lovely women that I met that are victims of Jeffrey Epstein, they also say they are victims of another group of men, one that they're afraid to list publicly, and I told them that I'd be happy to read that name on the House floor for them. There hasn't been any movement forward on that. Of course, that's up to those women and that's their decision. However, I remain steadfast in my belief is that all of this information should be released. No one should be protected. That's completely unfair. And I think it's a failure of administration that they never released it. No one has released this stuff. And so this is something that the American people are extremely angry about. I think it also played a part in Tuesday's election of why some people are just mad and they don't want to go vote. And it's not going away anytime soon.
Have you made your concerns about the Epstein files known to the president directly?
Yes. Yes, I have. I don't share my personal conversations with the president, but I did express how important it is.
See, I really believe that she understands exactly where the base is, though, and where the base is heading and where the country is heading in many ways. And I think she was trying to almost warn the party about all this before the elections. And now that the elections happened, she's like, I see exactly what the hell happened here. Like, we don't have time to just continue to do what Mike Johnson's doing and what Thune is doing and Trump is doing, although she never really says Trump's name in all this, and come out and
it's always the advisors.
It's always the people. It's the people around Trump. Yeah, but so she was also asked, so do you think it's a smart strategy for all these people to be downplaying the election results? As I said, Mike Johnson was like, these are just blue Democrats and blue states. They're voting, and it doesn't actually mean anything. Everyone loves the Republicans. We're all great. Everything's swell. Well, here's what Marjorie Taylor Greene's take was on that.
Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader Thune, and Vice President J.D. Vance, they all downplayed the election results, disputing that this is a broader wake-up call for your party. Are they wrong?
I don't think they should downplay it. I'm from Georgia, and we lost two very important public service commission seats that were statewide races in the state of Georgia. I think that should be a big wake-up call to my home state. We've got the entire slate coming up in 2026 with governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, and John Ossoff's Senate seat is up for election. So I think it's a major wake-up call, as well as other down-ballot races in Pennsylvania and Mississippi.
And I'm not one to give advice to Republicans, but will they listen? Because it's, definitely, I think a smart line of advice from Marjorie Taylor Greene that they should be caring about these things right now. The American people made their voices resoundingly clear on Tuesday. They could not have been more clear. And all the exit polling shows exactly why they did that. The Democrats ran fantastic candidates from Mamdani to Spanberger to Sherrill to the incredible campaign that Governor Newsom did with Prop 50. I mean, all over the map, the Democrats ran the table. And that was not an accident. These are good candidates who were very disciplined with their messaging, the main message being affordability, and they hammer that home every day. And then you also had the background of this insanity, this chaos of a Trump administration, a regime that is utterly unhinged, that thinks that even though they won less than 50% of the vote in the 2024 election, that they have some sort of mandate of God to do whatever the hell they want. Well, the voter said, absolutely not. Get the hell away from me. Get the hell off my back, or we're going to make you pay for this, and make them pay. They did on Tuesday. And so now, as Ben said, now is not the time to get complacent. Now, in fact, is the time to put your foot on the gas. Now is the time, and it doesn't mean get cocky. It doesn't mean get braggadocious. It doesn't mean, start waving your hands and go, yeah, we did it. No, none of that crap, right? It means take the lessons that we learned and let's continue in that direction. Let's continue to fight for a better America, and let's continue to fight against this authoritarian regime. Stay disciplined, stay the course, put in the work, and spread these messages. One of the things that was so heartening to me, and Jordy, I know you as well, is when we've gone to these No Kings protests and stuff, seeing people out there who say, I watch MeidasTouch. I listen to the MeidasTouch podcast. I love your Instagrams. I love your TikToks. I tell everyone about the podcast. I think that's also one of the reasons why we see so many people at these events, because people are spreading these messages, not just MeidasTouch, but they're spreading what's going on in this country. And that right now is like the single most important thing. Keep spreading the word, whether it's us, whether it's other creators, pro-democracy people. We need to get these messages out in mass. You'd be shocked at how many people don't even know what's going on a daily basis in the country. So definitely share it. I want everybody in here also right now. We got a big audience. Make sure that you go and subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast on audio. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeart. There are a billion audio platforms, whichever one you like. I don't care. Go there, add the podcast, leave a 5-star review if you can. Super important, super helpful, helps to get in the algorithm, help spread the word. Join us on Substack, MeidasPlus.com, MeidasPlus.com. That's our Substack. Ron Filipkowski is our editor-in-chief. He does a daily political news bulletin. So you're like, oh, I got a busy day. I don't have time to watch all these videos, listen to all these podcasts. Great. Ron's bulletin, daily, boom, quick, easy bullet points of the top news of the day. Somehow he gets all the stories that even I miss. And I think I'm on top of the news every day. It's really insightful, really great bulletin, best in the galaxy. I'm gonna say I feel confident about saying best in the galaxy. And thanks so much for watching. Honestly, thanks from the bottom of our heart. Like I think everybody in this country right now, all of you watching, should feel incredibly proud about the progress that we've made. It was certainly not a sure bet that we'd even still be standing here at the MeidasTouch Network, and just all of us here, still in the fight, still pushing forward for democracy. It hasn't been an easy, 10, 11 months. I'm not gonna lie to you. It hasn't been an easy time for this country. But the fact that you are here, the fact that you're listening, the fact that you're watching, you should be incredibly proud of yourself. Let's keep spreading these messages. Let's keep the momentum going. Congrats on all your hard work and what it led to. Now let's continue to put in that hard work. Jordy, I don't know if I missed anything. I think I got it all covered.
You covered it all.
If not, I'll let you take us away.
You covered it all. Shout out to the Meidas Mighty. Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.